Okay, here we go. Polynomials, exponent rules number 4. And this is just focusing more on when we have negative exponents. So we've seen negative exponents when we started dividing. We started seeing those. But sometimes when you start the problem, you're going to see negative exponents. So let's make sure we're ready for that. So when I see this, once again, I'm dividing. I see the x as my base. I'm going to rewrite my base. And then simply I'm going to apply my rule. Negative 4 minus 2 is negative 6. Once again, I know I can't, that's not the final answer. I've got to put that in the basement, and the negative 6 becomes positive. These two things mean the same thing. It's just that this way is the acceptable way to write the answer for reasons you will understand later. Oh, you know, when you get to some higher level math, it just works better that way when you're taking derivatives and integrals. All right, so here we go. Let's do this one. I see that I have an x and an x. My base is x, so I write that. And then I say 3 minus a negative. So once again, I don't even think I can put it in my calculator. 3 minus a negative 2 is going to be 5, right? Same thing, I see the y. And then I have negative 7 minus a 5 is negative 12. Then I've got to rewrite it, right? My x to the 5th can stay in the numerator because it's a positive exponent. But my y's got to go to the basement until the 12 is positive. All right. Do another one. So these are basically what we've been doing. Once again, when we see our constants, when we see just our normal everyday numbers, there's no new rule for them. 10 divided by 2 will always be 5. All right, I see an x, I write an x. Okay, it's weird to see x to the 0, right? Because anything raised to the 0, like 1 raised to the 0 is 1. 3 raised to the 0 is 1. X raised to the 0 is 1. Now 0 raised to the 0 is not 1. That's an indeterminate form, and you'll learn more about that later. All right, but here we go. They're just writing it instead of 1, they write x to the 0. And that's okay. We can do this. 0 minus 2 is negative 2. Rewrite it. Goes down into the basement. Some people might have been able to see, oh, my x and my 2 kind of came together, but you know what I mean. There we go. Some people might go, well, wait a second, Miss Overby, look, x is 0, that's 1. I'm just getting rid of it. And what's left? 10 divided by 2 is 5. So I have my 5 up here, and my x squared stays down there. Either way, it doesn't matter how you go about it. And that's the great thing about math. You can do it a couple different ways. All right, so now we've got something that looks a little different. We've got like a power to a power, right? So we're going to rewrite this. That negative 4, put it in parentheses, just like we did when we did power to powers before. Raise that to a negative 1. Then put the x and raise that to a negative 1. Okay, we're distributing that negative 1 power. Now, if you want to, you can put this in your calculator, right? You're going to put the negative 4, then you'll hit the up button, and then you'll hit the negative button, and then you'll hit the 1 button, right? And what it will give you is, it'll give you negative 1 over 4. So the negative 1, when we raise something to negative 1, it really just kicks it to the denominator. All right, and then x to the negative 1 is also, you know, has to go down into the denominator. So we got to bring these together, right? And so basically negative 1 times 1 is negative 1 over 4x. That was kind of the long way to do it. But I want to make sure that you understand that negative 1, that power goes to both powers. Because, right, negative 4 has the 1 there. So we really did do negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. That x has the 1 there. Negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. All right, looks a little weird when there's just those 1s. Let's see what's behind here. Oh, okay, more 1s. All right, now note the difference. I want to go ahead and erase this part so that we can kind of see the difference. See how in this one we've got parentheses and this one we don't. This negative 1 only goes to the x. It does not go to the negative 5. This one went to both the 4 and the x because of the parentheses. Parentheses always say share, share. No parentheses, no sharing. All right, so negative 5 is just negative 5. X to the negative 1 has to go in the basement until that 1's positive. Delta Net doesn't like when you do this, so we want to clean it up, and it'll be negative 5 over x. All right, so lots of negatives going around. Let's see what else we're going to do. Okay, here, let's go ahead and do it like we used to. I'm going to put a little 1 there and a little 1 there. So this is just power to power. So I'm going to say negative 2 times 1. That gives me negative 9 times negative 2. Okay, Negative 2 times 1, that gives me negative 2, so that's x to the negative 2. Right? And so that really, we have to kick both of them down. Okay, we have to kick. So we're going to go ahead and write the 1 on the top because nobody gets to stay on top. And if nobody stays in the numerator, you got to put a 1 there. You just can't let it be blank. So we're going to bring now the 9 stays negative. So that's negative 9 squared. And we're going to fix that in a second. And that's x squared. All right, this looks weird, doesn't it? When we distributed, I did one thing last time that I didn't do this time. See how I brought that negative 4 down in parentheses? It's going to be really important to do this, because when we put this in our calculator, when I put parentheses around my negative 9 and I squared up my calculator, I get 81. But if I didn't have those parentheses, I'd get negative 81. And the reason why is our calculators know, PEM does, right? Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, parentheses first, then exponents. And so this one tells the calculator, hey, square this whole thing. The squaring comes first. This tells the calculator, this one tells the calculator, square first, then multiply by the negative. So make sure you put that the parentheses in, so you get 1 over 81 x squared. All right, I think we've got one more left. Once again, parentheses and no parentheses, there's a big difference, right? This negative 2 only goes, to the x. It does not go to the 3. So it's 3, and then x to the negative 2. 3 gets to stay up in the numerator. The x goes down until the 2 is positive, and that's our answer. All right, this seemed a little weird, right? I think we're done. Wait, let's make sure. I pulled this up, and I don't know. Are we done? We are done. All right, so let's practice. Practice is really going to help us. Thanks for joining me.